Tactic. Tactic. The company developed a new marketing tactic. Manifestation. Manifestation. The symptoms were a manifestation of the disease. Skepticism. Skepticism. There is some skepticism regarding the new policy. Predecessor. Predecessor. His predecessor had implemented several important changes. Advocate. Advocate. She is a strong advocate for environmental protection. Dissent. Dissent. There was a dissent within the group regarding the decision. Intervention. Intervention. The government's intervention was necessary to resolve the crisis. Robust. Robust. The company has a robust financial position. Tentative. Tentative. He gave a tentative answer, unsure of the details. Obscure. Obscure. The reason for the delay is still obscure. Receptive. Receptive. She was very receptive to the new ideas presented. Credible. Credible. He gave a credible explanation for his actions. Exemplary. Exemplary. Her performance was exemplary, setting a high standard. Compelling. Compelling. His argument was so compelling that everyone agreed. To incorporate. To incorporate. The new features were incorporated into the software. To exemplify. To exemplify. His actions exemplify the true spirit of teamwork. To consolidate. To consolidate. The company plans to consolidate its operations in the coming years. To decipher. To decipher. They managed to decipher the code after hours of work. To examine. To examine. The scientist will examine the results of the experiment. To amplify. To amplify. The speaker used a microphone to amplify his voice. To embody. To embody. The new design embodies the principles of sustainability. Carry out. Carry out. The team will carry out the experiment next week. Take up. Take up. He decided to take up painting as a hobby. Look into. Look into. We need to look into the issue before making a decision. Run into. Run into. I ran into an old friend at the grocery store. Come across. Come across. She came across a great book at the library. Cut down on. Cut down on. We need to cut down on unnecessary expenses. Run out of. Run out of. We ran out of time before we could finish the presentation. Inherently. Inherently. The task is inherently difficult due to its complexity. Reluctantly. Reluctantly. He reluctantly agreed to help with the project. Seamlessly. Seamlessly. The transition between the two departments was seamless. Subsequently. Subsequently. Subsequently, the company launched a new product. Undoubtedly. Undoubtedly. She is undoubtedly the best candidate for the job. Virtually. Virtually. The new technology virtually eliminates the need for paper. Unquestionably. Unquestionably. He is unquestionably one of the most talented musicians. Revenue. Revenue. The company increased revenue. Adversity. Adversity. She overcame adversity. Constraint. Constraint. Time is a major constraint. Deficit. Deficit. The company faces a deficit. Persecution. Persecution. They suffered persecution. Leverage. Leverage. He used leverage to lift the rock. Initiative. Initiative. She took the initiative. Discomfort. Discomfort. He felt discomfort in his back. Captivity. Captivity. The animal was kept in captivity. Tariff. Tariff. The government imposed tariffs. Prospect. Prospect. The job has good prospects. Allegation. Allegation. The allegation was false. Abundance. Abundance. There is an abundance of food. Asset. Asset. Knowledge is a valuable asset. Controversy. Controversy. The decision caused controversy. To implement. To implement. They implemented the plan. To alleviate. To alleviate. This medicine alleviates pain. To comply. To comply. You must comply with the rules. To pursue. To pursue. He pursued his dream. To facilitate. To facilitate. This tool facilitates communication. To endorse. To endorse. The policy was endorsed by experts. To summon. To summon. He was summoned to the meeting. To formulate. To formulate. She formulated a new strategy. To lessen. To lessen. They tried to lessen the damage. To inflict. To inflict. The storm inflicted serious damage. To infect. To infect. The virus infected many people. To stroll. To stroll. They strolled along the beach. To magnify. To magnify. The lens magnifies the image. To alter. To alter. They altered the schedule slightly. Noble. Noble. He lived a noble life. Arrogant. Arrogant. His arrogant attitude annoyed everyone. Cynical. Cynical. She has a cynical view of politics. Straightforward. Straightforward. His explanation was straightforward. Hypocritical. Hypocritical. His actions were hypocritical. Docile. Docile. The dog is very docile and calm. Conspicuous. Conspicuous. She wore a conspicuous red dress. Redundant. Redundant. The report contained redundant details. Rugged. Rugged. The rugged terrain was hard to cross. Dazed. Dazed. He looked dazed after the accident. Inevitably. Inevitably. The project was inevitably delayed. Relatively. Relatively. This task is relatively easy. Deliberately. Deliberately. He deliberately ignored the rules. Approximately. Approximately. The trip took approximately 2 hours. Barely. Barely. She barely passed the exam.